As we always do when we start class, just start to find a comfortable seat wherever you are. So grounding down into your blanket, your block, your ground. Sorry, feeling your sit bones really digging in, right? Like finding your base there. Let me just close the door. Start to engage your core just a tiny bit. And with your eyes closed, you can really turn inward and focus on your core. Engage those locks so that your back body and your front body feel equally strong and engaged. With this engagement, start to stack your spine. Feeling your shoulders come on top of your hips, your head right on top of your shoulders. And bring your chin parallel to the mat and just take in the sensation for a moment of this nice, tall, engaged torso, right? This is your foundation in a seated pose. Shrug your shoulders up by your ears, roll them back, always starting with this opening, right? This initial opening of our heart, our lungs, and our mind. Then the collarbone spread left to right, nice and broad here. Take a deep breath in through your nose and let it all go out through your mouth. One more time, fill up. Feel your ribcage expand as the breath goes in. And then exhale, let it go. Let's join together with 3 arms to open class and kind of set our space together even though we're separated. Breathing in, feeling the crown of the head lift toward the ceiling. Sitting with that vibration, it starts to energize our body from the toes all the way to the top of your head. Keep your eyes gently closed here for the first few moments as we start to move. Release your hands by your sides, and then reaching out or not, just take your reach up overhead, joining your hands in prayer if your shoulders are ready. It's our first movement, so they may not be ready. If they're not, just reach up toward the sky, but keep your shoulders pulling down away from your ears, so right? So your shoulders are pulling down, but your fingers are reaching up, finding lots of engagement in your arms. Keep that core engaged. Try not to have too much sway in the lower back. One more breath here, reach a little bit taller, and then exhale, take your arms back down by your side. Again, reach out and up. This time, interlace your hands up overhead. Press your palms toward the sky. Your chin can tip up as if you're gazing toward the sky. Your eyes are probably still closed. Reach those palms up overhead. And then keeping your fingers interlaced, just start to take a side stretch, tipping your arms off to the left, grounding down through the right sit bone here, reaching those interlaced palms over toward the corner, like where the ceiling and wall meet, or if you're inside, if you're outside, just kind of imagine that you're in the room. Inhale, take that back up overhead and then switch sides, grounding down through the left sit bone, reaching up, finding a nice side stretch in the left body. Good, press those palms a little bit further and then come back up overhead. Tuck your chin in towards your chest, gently around your spine, and then press these interlaced palms straight forward. Good, toward the front of the room, from the front of the space where you are. Breathe here. And then like you're turning a giant captain's wheel side to side on a boat, just start to take those interlaced palms to the left, finding a nice deep stretch and kind of in the belly of your shoulder. And then take it over to the right, keep pressing forward. Bring your arms more parallel to the ground, right? So we're not up overhead here, we're just pressing forward. Good, taking it to the left. Ooh, and then the right, like you're turning this big wheel. One more time to each side. I'm finding personally a really deep part of my shoulder here. Good, and then once more to the opposite side. Last time, reach these interlaced palms up overhead, then bring them to the back of your head. Gently press your palms into the back of your head and your head back into your palms as you spread your elbows side to side, lifting up through the heart center here, gazing up, maybe gently blink your eyes open now. And then as you exhale, start to curl in, joining your elbows in front of you, rounding down. Inhale, open up like a butterfly. Really use your hands and your head pressing into each other to stretch a little bit further, opening up the elbows. And then last time, curl it in, tuck your chin, try to tap your elbows together. Inhale, take your interlace palms back up overhead one last time. And then as you exhale, release your palms. Roll over your knees, remove any block or blanket you might be sitting on. Come to all fours on your mat. And before we come and do it like a formal tabletop, let's just start to move our bodies. You can start your playlist here. I remember to say it today. If you're practicing to music. Good. And when you're done with that, just start to move on your mat here. Making circles with your hips. Just kind of checking in with your body, feeling where you are right now. Yeah, every day is different, right? So just be okay with that and work with your strengths to help your weaknesses, right? That's kind of a good lesson in life, not just with your body, but with all of the challenges that you may face. Good. After a couple rolls of your torso and your hips, come back to tabletop position. Flip your hands around so that your fingers are facing your knees. Check to make sure that your wrists are right under your shoulders here so you have a nice strong tabletop. And then with these fingers pointing backward, let's take a few cat-cows. So keep pressing into the heels of your hands as you arch your spine. Pull your heart forward. It's not going to move much here. And then exhale, press through your palms as you tuck your tail, tuck your chin, round your spine. Inhale here to arch, gaze forward, really feel your shoulders pulling back as you take your gaze forward and then maybe up a tiny bit. Exhale, press into your palm to round your spine. Coming back to neutral here, take your fingers so they're facing each other, the backs of your hands are on the mat. So you're like this, right? Your fingers are facing each other. Press into the backs of your hands to try to straighten your arms here. And this might be enough. You can rock side to side a little bit, stretching out the wrists. And keep doing this or try to make little fists with your hands, like curling your fingers in knuckle by knuckle into a fist. Try to hug your thumbs. It's really hard for most people. You could do this every day, and I think it's still hard work because we're on our phones and typing and doing so much with our hands. Good. One more time, one more breath wherever you are. Release your fingers. Place your palms back on the mat in neutral position. Tuck your toes under. And just for a moment, lift your knees up off the mat. Engage your core here. Pretend you're squeezing a block between your thighs, right? Really feel that, engage your core when you do that. Pull your navel up by your spine. Feel nice and strong in the torso. And then keeping your knees bent as long as you can, start to send your chest back toward your thighs, pressing into your palms to elongate your arms. Start to send your hips up and back behind you, coming into downward facing dog. And the last thing you do is straighten your knees and drop your heels. Right? Really feel nice height with your hips here. Again, this time just come high up on your heels. Send your torso back toward your thighs for just a moment. Really press into the mat with your palms. Good. And with this space, start to drop your hips as you straighten your legs. Feel your sit bones separating and lifting up toward the sky. You can even kind of pretend you're making like a little arch in your lower back here. It won't move much, but it will elongate and make space in your hips. Inhaling here and exhaling. Come high on your toes in this downward facing dog. Drop both heels to the right. Take a nice side stretch here. Really press down through your left palm. Find a nice lengthening from like your left wrist all the way to your left hip. And while you're here, try bending your right knee. See what that does to the stretch. And then straightening back out, and then maybe bend your left knee. See if that changes the stretch. Just kind of explore, right? Find all these nooks and crannies. And use your breath to open them up. One more breath. Inhale, come high on your heels, back through center, heels drop to the left this time. Really press through the right palm. Find this nice lengthening as you send your chest back in a traditional downward facing dog. Just your heels are dropped. And then maybe bend into your left knee as you press further into your right foot. And then switch knees, just noticing the difference, finding some movement here.
and staying where you feel that you need to be. One more breath. Inhale, come back through center, high on your toes here, engage your core, tuck your tail and just roll forward into a plank like you're a wave. Your shoulders can come a little bit ahead of your wrists here, and then bend your knees as you send your hips back towards your heels, send it back up to downward facing dog. 2 more times like that, just opening up the spine, come high on your heels, tuck your tail, roll through your spine, and then come back, sending your hips back to the heels, pressing up to downward facing dog, making it nice and fluid. Last time, using your breath to glide forward, and then exhale, take it back, downward facing dog. Let's come down to our knees here for just a moment into a child's pose. Big toes are touching, knees are separated. Just reach your arms forward for just a moment, give them a break. That was a lot of downward facing dog for early in the practice. You can stay here, you can flip your palms open toward the sky, kind of roll over your pinkies so that they're on the inside of your thumbs, or reaching toward the outside. And take it as far as you want. You can press your forearms into the mat and pretend you're dragging them back, just finding some nice opening in the shoulders. One more breath here. Place your palms back on the mat, tuck your toes, looking in downward facing dog. From your down dog, take your right leg up toward the sky, bend your knee, open your hip, taking these nice juicy circles that we hopefully all look forward to at the beginning of our practice. Take 3 big circles with a knee bent or a straight leg. Take 3 in one direction, and then switch directions, nice and slow. Really finding the movement coming from your core. Good. After your third rotation in the opposite direction, send that right leg all the way up toward the sky. Point your toe, come high on your left toes here. Send your chest back, find a little bit more lift. And then as you exhale, roll forward to plank, step your right foot to the outside of your right hand, coming into this low lizard lunge. Keep your fingertips pressing into the mat, hips are nice and buoyant here. Rock back and forth. Chest is nice and proud, moving forward, gaze ahead. Good, and then come back to steady if you've been rocking, and then just gently tap your left knee to the mat. Not a lot of movement in the body. And then press through the ball of your left foot to straighten that leg back out. Finding some opening in the left right hip. Inhale here to tap. Exhale, straighten it back out. Inhale here to tap. This time leave your knee down, untuck your toes, straighten your right leg and come into this wide half Hanumanasana. So you're floating to the inside of your right leg. You can keep your palms pressing into the mat. You want to pull your heart forward, so whether you're on your forearms or your hands. Pretend you're pulling them back as you lengthen your spine forward, and then exhale, fold down, letting your heart lead the way. Dropping your neck when you get where you're going, releasing any tension in the neck. Keep pressing that right heel into the mat, pulling that right hip back and in. One more breath here. Good. As you inhale, bend back into your right knee, place that foot on the ground. Just bring your back foot into like a warrior pose. So the back foot is on the ground, right? Your toes are out, your heel is in, and walk with these warrior legs. Walk your hand out to the right, to the left. Good. Nice downward dog body and warrior legs. Keep pressing into the feet here. Don't let those hips sink. Really use it. Like think about your heels pressing into the mat, especially on your right foot. Use that to feel your hips lift up toward the sky and then elongate your spine a little bit further off to the side. One more breath here. Good. Next inhale, walk your hands back to center. Come to your left toes, step it back to downward facing dog. Getting some nice juicy opening in the hips this morning. Left leg reaches for the sky as you inhale. Bend your knee, open the hip. And then following your own breath and doing what you need, just start to make those rotations about 3 in each direction. Not too quick, and really feel your core moving your leg, right? Don't let it kind of flop around up there and use momentum. Do everything very mindfully and with intention. Even if you don't get as many repetitions in or as many circles or whatever it is, take it nice and intentional this morning, really following, letting your mind guide you here. Send your left leg up toward the sky. Take a moment here to come high on your right toes, gently bend that right knee and feel your left toes lifting a little bit higher. And then as you exhale, roll forward to plank, left foot to the outside of your left hand, coming in this low lizard lunge. Taking a few breaths here to feel your foundation, rocking back and forth, right? Trying to pressure your hips up toward the sky. It's this nice balance of like sinking and lifting, right? So everything's engaged. Beautiful. One more breath here, rocking back and forth. And then coming to stillness, keep your torso nice and steady. Just gently tap your right knee down. And then press through that right big toe ball to straighten your leg back out. A tiny movement, right? But you should feel a nice opening in the front of your right hip. One more time here, tap it and straighten. This time, tap it down, untuck your toes, straighten through that left leg. Take a moment here, really press down wherever your arms or hands are touching as you pull your heart forward. And then exhale, fold it down. Keep pulling that left hip in toward the midline and back. Lengthening your spine a little bit longer. One more breath here. Beautiful, and then back into the left knee. Plant that left foot on the mat as you take your right foot into warrior position. And then walk your hands out to the right corner of the mat. Nice and long here. Keep pressing, your hips are kind of pressing up toward the ceiling and then back behind you as you reach your fingertips and the crown of your head forward. Keep those legs engaged. Maybe even try micro bending that right knee for just a moment and then pressing through your right foot to straighten it back out. Maybe find a little bit deeper stretch in that right hip crease. One more breath here. Beautiful. Walk your hands back to center. This time we're gonna, from our lizard lunge, we're gonna step our right foot to the outside of our right hand, coming into our Malasana Yogi squat at the top of the mat. I know it's early, so just kind of get yourself settled, rock back and forth, kind of find where your feet are comfortable. You might have to move them out or move them in a little bit. Take a moment here with a nice tall spine, using your elbows to pressure knees out. Feel like your sit bones have anchors on them pulling you down, right? So your heart is lifting, but your sit bones are sinking down toward the mat. Nice tall heart here, nice tall spine. Breathe here, try to pull your shoulders down away from your ears. One more breath. And then as you exhale, stay in the squat, just pretend like you're diving over a big beach ball here as you reach your arms forward. Feel your hips sink a little bit further. Play around with how you're putting the weight into your feet, right? Maybe toward the arch side or toward the outside of your, like the pinky side of your foot. Play around and see where it feels different, right? It may not be good or bad, just different. Trying to sort of compensate for what we would normally fall into. So like I always roll out, so I always try to roll in when I'm doing these things, just to awaken those muscles that are kind of asleep most of the time, because I default to the opposite side. One more breath here. Start to walk your hands back under your chest, press into your feet and your hands to straighten your legs, toe heel your feet to hips width distance. You should be toward the top of your mat here. And then exhale, just hang, right? You can grab opposite elbows. Keep your core engaged here. You can also crisscross your arms behind your calves to pull yourself deeper into the fold. Rock back and forth in your feet, maybe pausing one side or the other. Beautiful. One more breath. Then release your grip wherever you are. Bend into your knees, really press your feet into the mat here. Keep your knees bent as you tuck your tail under and roll yourself all the way up to stand. Reaching your arms out and up. Gazing up as you press down through your feet. And as you exhale, bring your arms by your side into Tadasana. Taking a moment here. That was a fairly deep and intense warm-up. So just take a moment here. Feel your body, right? Feel your foundation. Feel your feet pressing into the mat here. Beautiful. We're going to move into some sun salutation A, but I want you to do the first one with your knees gently bent. Again, just noticing differences. This should open up some space in the front of your hips, like in your hip creases here. Maybe feel a little bit better in your back as you start to fold over. The second one we'll do traditional with nice straight engaged legs. And then the third one you do as you feel like you would benefit the most. So with your feet pressing down, your knees gently bend, your tail tucked under. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead, maybe your palms join. Keeping a soft bend in your legs, start to fold forward, touching down.
Inhale here, lengthen your spine, keep those knees bent. And then exhale, plant your palms, step or jump back, lowering down to chaturanga, squeezing those arms in. Inhale, upward facing dog, press your feet and palms into the mat, pull your heart forward. Exhale, downward facing dog. 3 breaths here, gentle bend in your knees. Let's keep this going for the entire sun salutation. Good, with that micro bend in your knees, you may feel your sit bones separate and lift. Beautiful, keep that. Press through your hands. Inhale here. Exhale. Last time, deep inhale. Exhale, bend your knees deeply. Step or jump to the top of your mat. Exhale, fold it down. Soft bend in the knees as you lift up, rise up, stand up, reach up, palms press. Exhale, arms by your side, Tadasana. Beautiful. This time it's straight legs if you're ready. As you inhale again, reach up overhead. Exhale, fold it down over those straight and strong engaged legs. Inhale here to lengthen, send your tail back as you gaze forward. Exhale, plant your palms, step or jump back, lowering down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good. This time, engage your core, feel your sit bones, move up toward the sky, maybe without bending your knees. Keep that sensation of squeezing into the midline like you're holding a block between your thighs. Exhale here. Inhale. As you exhale, bend your knees, look forward. Inhale, step or jump to the top of the mat. Exhale, fold it down. Inhale, rise up, reach up, palms press. Exhale, arms by your side, Tadasana. Good, yogi's choice this time with your knees. Do what feels good. As you inhale, reach it up. Exhale, fold it down. Inhale here to lengthen. Exhale, really plant those palms, then step or jump back to lower down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Roll your shoulders back. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale. Inhaling here. Exhale. Last round, take a deep breath in. Exhale, bend your knees deeply, look forward. Inhale, step or jump to the top. Exhale, fold it down. Inhale, rise up, reach up, palms press. Exhale, arms by your side, Tadasana. Moving on, hook your thumbs out in front of you. As you inhale, reach up, look up, arch back, maybe bend your knees, maybe not. Explore it here for an extra breath. And then as you exhale, bend your knees, swing arms, clasp hands, fold down over straight legs with the crown of your head, pull you down. Inhale, hands to the mat, step your right foot back to a lunge. Exhale, left foot back, downward facing dog. Inhale, rolling forward to plank, keep that tail tucked. Exhale, lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog, letting your breath guide you. Inhale to plank. Exhale, knees, chest, chin, send that tush to the sky. Squeeze your arms into the ribs. Inhale, roll it forward, low cobra. Exhale, push it back, seat the heels, downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot steps forward to a lunge, gaze ahead. Exhale, left foot forward, fold it down. Inhale, bend knees, hook thumbs, reach up, look up, arch back. Exhale, bend knees, swing arms, clasp hands, fold it down. Inhale, hands to the mat, left foot steps back to a lunge, gaze ahead. Exhale, right foot back, downward facing dog. Inhale, roll forward to plank, high on your toes. Exhale, take it down, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog, press into your hands. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. Inhale, slide it forward to cobra. Exhale, push it back, seat the heels, downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot forward lunge. Exhale, right foot forward, fold it down. Inhale, bend knees, hook thumbs, reach up, look up, arch back. Again, bend knees, swing arms, clasp hands, fold it down. Inhale, hands to the mat, step your right foot back to a lunge. Pause here for just a moment, keep your right hand planted in the mat as you take this nice open twist. Right, we do this one a lot, but take some time here to set it up. Keep that right knee kind of bending, you don't want it falling out to the side. You can even use your right hand to press down. into your knee, like pressing it forward so it stays in line, and then move your torso away from your thigh. Good, and then with that stability, take your left arm up toward the sky, let your gaze follow. Keep pressing into that right hand. One more breath here. As you exhale, bring your left hand down, step back, lower down to chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. Inhale, slide it forward to cobra. Exhale, push it back, seat to heels, downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot steps forward to a lunge. Pause here, press into your feet, rise up into your high lunge for just a breath. Tuck that tail under again, maybe just micro bend that back knee to lift your heart, bring your ribs in. Right, so we're not flaring out, we're keeping everything squeezing into the midline here. Hold it here for a breath. And then exhale, hands come down, pop your left foot forward, fold it down. Inhale, bend knees, hook thumbs, reach up, look up, arch back. Exhale, bend knees, swing arms, clasp hands, fold it down. Inhale, hands to the mat, left foot steps back to a lunge, hold it here. Press that left hand down, take your right hand to your right knee, keeping it stable and kind of in its own lane, not flaring out. You can pretend you're pushing it forward a little bit. Then start to turn your torso into the twist. From here, feeling nice and strong, pressing through that back foot, then take your right arm up overhead. Keep pressing into that right foot. You may feel a nice opening kind of in your right tush there. As you find that tension and that strength and that engagement. Open it up, one more breath. As you exhale, right hand comes down, step back to plank, lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. Inhale to cobra, pull your heart forward. Exhale, take it back, downward facing dog. Left foot steps forward into a lunge, press into your feet, find your balance, reach it up in the high lunge, pause. Good. Take your gaze up, gently bend into your right knee here, feel your tail tuck when you do that, and feel your ribs move into, like more into your torso here. Nice, strong, straight torso. Maybe straighten that leg back out if you're ready. One more breath here. As you exhale, hands come down. Right foot steps forward, fold it down. As you inhale, hook your thumbs, bend your knees, stand up, look up, arch back. Exhale, arms by your side, Tadasana. Again, closing your eyes for a moment, catching up, resetting. I feel like most of us have a love-hate with that Jivamukti salutation, right? But whatever the case may be, it gets us moving, our bodies warmed up, connecting our breath with our movement so that we're ready to move on. So put that behind us, come back to the top of your mat, toes and heels are touching here, feel those feet pressing into the mat, bend your knees deeply, reach up to Utkatasana, pause here. Tuck your tail under, good. Reach your heart up and maybe lift your toes up off the mat. See what that does to your pose and your engagement. Right, maybe you like kind of activate your legs or your core. Hold it here for one more breath. As you exhale, fold down over straight legs. Inhale here to lengthen. Exhale, plant your palms, step or jump back, lowering down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, your right foot steps forward, spin your left heel down, come up to warrior one, just for a breath. Tuck that tail, reach your heart up. Exhale, hands come down, step back, lower down. You can always skip these vinyasas and be in downward facing dog, right? It's your time and every day is different. And then take it back to downward facing dog. Left foot forward, rise up, warrior one. Press your back foot down, lift your heart up. Bend your left knee deeply. Exhale, hands down, step back, lower down. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, step your right foot forward again, rise up to warrior one. Good, and then press through your right foot to straighten your right leg. Arms come behind you. Interlace your fingers. Press your knuckles down to lift your heart. So feel your feet pressing down and use that to lift your heart. And then as you exhale, bend it into
Humble warrior, folding to the inside of your right leg. Pausing here, letting your head fall. No tension in the neck. Beautiful. Take a moment here and try to lift your right toes up off the mat. Feel their right heel then kind of activate, right? Pressing into the mat, lifting that hip up a little bit, finding more space to fold into. One more breath here. As you exhale, just come halfway up, release your hands, walk yourself to the back of the mat, coming into Skandasana, right? So we're gonna bend in deeply into the left knee, it's our first one. Lift your right heel up off the mat, you can really feel it pressing into the mat. And you can do what feels good here, right? You can take your hands to the insides of both of your legs and open up as your hips drop. You can take an opening, you know, whatever you're feeling today. Kind of a yogi's choice with a little bit of guidance. Good, you can also reach forward, kind of like we did in yogi squat earlier. See what feels good. One more breath here. Good, and then here's our challenge, and it may not be for you today. We're gonna take Skandasana to the front of the mat. Try to press into your feet and not use your hands to get there. Stay low, use your feet to move your torso to the other side. Get yourself settled here. Pressing that left heel into the mat, left toes are facing up. And again, explore. Your hips may be different left and right. You may need something different on this side. Just take a few breaths here, and each breath will take you a little bit deeper. Inhaling here. Oh, my right hip is so much tighter than my left. It's weird. Exhale. Beautiful. One more breath. And then start to walk your hands to the top of the mat, framing your right foot, stepping back, lower down to Chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Left foot forward, warrior one. Just a breath. Then press into your feet to straighten that left leg, lift your heart. Keep pressing down to lift up. Arms come behind you, interlace those fingers. Open it up, feel your shoulders roll open. And then like a dance, just start to bend into that left knee as you fold inside your left thigh there. Coming into humble warrior. When you get there, take a moment to lift your toes, feel your heel pressing into the mat on the left side, lifting that left hip, kind of from the bottom side up. One more breath here. Beautiful. This time, release your arms to the mat, walk it to center. We're going to take Skandasana again, as you're going to be bending into your right knee. You can choose again, you maybe want to try to keep your left foot down on the mat and see how that changes the stretch. You can do a few different things. You can drop your hips to the mat or try something that you didn't do on the other side, right? Just explore. A lot of the exploration comes from different positions of your feet. Like when I press my foot down into the mat, the sole of my foot down into the mat, I feel different activation, like more to the inside of my thigh. And when I have my heel up, I feel it more sort of in my butt. But everybody is different. Do what feels good. One more breath. And then again, press into your feet, stay low, switch it to the other side. Get settled there and then kind of play around here. Pressing the sole of your foot into the mat, maybe dropping your hips a little bit lower. Good, guys, beautiful. Breathe it out. Let your breath take you a little bit deeper every time you exhale. One more breath. Walk your hands to the top of the mat, either side of your left foot. Step back and take a vinyasa or meet us in downward facing dog. Breathing here. 3 breaths in your down dog. Little reset. Keep those legs engaged though. And again, maybe bend your knees a little bit. Soften, find space for your lower back. In your down dog, just like we did with our feet, with our toes, try in your down dog to press your palms into the mat and lift your fingers up. Maybe feel your armpits lift a little bit here, engaging up toward the sky, almost hollowing out. Beautiful. One more breath. Inhale. As you exhale, bend your knees, look forward. Inhale, step or jump to the top of the mat. Exhale, fold it down. Inhale, bend your knees deeply, rise up to Utkatasana. And from Utkatasana, bring your hands to heart center. We're going to take a twist to the right. So your left arm is coming to the outside of your right thigh. Keep pressing your hands into prayer, keeping your thumbs by your heart, and then try to twist your torso toward your thumbs. You can stay here with your elbows stacked
or maybe opening up, bring your left arm down, your right arm up. Keep sinking those hips, pulling them back evenly. One more breath here. Inhaling. And then exhale, come back through center, Utkatasana. Hook your thumbs, stand up, look up, arch back, kind of take a break here. Exhale, bend knees, swing arms, clasp hands, fold it down. And then as you inhale, drop your hips, reach it back up to Utkatasana. Kind of like a little palate cleanser there in between. And take your twist to the other side. Right arm hooking to the outside of your left leg. Really press those palms together and use that pressure to twist your torso into like moving up more up toward the sky. Gaze is up. Maybe you're opening your arms here. Inhaling. Exhale. One more breath. This time, inhale, come back to center, Utkatasana. And as you exhale, fold it down, Uttanasana. Keep your core engaged, protect your back. Inhale here to lengthen. Exhale, plant those palms, step or jump back, lowering down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. As you inhale, step your right foot forward, rise up to warrior one. Exhale, open it up to warrior two. Good, inhale, press through your right foot to straighten your right leg. We're gonna take a reverse triangle in this nice long stance. So tuck your tail under, right? You don't wanna be like leaning forward and sending your tush back. Pretend your torso is in between two panes of glass. And then just take a nice long stretch here, really focusing on the side body. Keeping your tail tucked under. Maybe take your gaze up, one more breath. And then as you inhale, come back to center. Start to pull your heart forward, your crown of your head forward. Taking it into triangle pose. You can keep a long stance here, or you can shorten your stance. Do what feels comfortable to you, where you feel a strong foundation in your feet to press up. Good. You're stacking your shoulders. Try to pull your right hip forward and your left hip stacks back a little bit on top. And wherever you are, gently bend into your right knee for just a moment. Maybe feel a little release in your hip crease. And either stay here if this feels good, pressing into the foot, or use that pressure in your foot to straighten your leg back out. Right, kind of coming into triangle from the opposite direction. Noticing the change. One more breath. Good, staying down, take your left arm over your left ear, reach it forward, keep your heart open toward the side though, right? We're not sinking down yet. Our torso is facing the side of the room. One more breath. And now as you exhale, start to rotate your torso down over your right leg. Hands come to either side of that front foot as you pop your left foot in a little bit, shorten your stance. Each foot is in its own lane here. Take an inhale here to lengthen your heart forward. Maybe lift your toes up off the mat. Really press through the ball of that right foot. Feel that help to move your right hip back in space. And then exhale, fold it down into a pyramid pose. Breathing here. Inhale. Exhale. Keep pulling that right hip back in and using your right foot to help you do that, right? And then press into that back foot. Don't forget about it back there. One more breath. Good. Take an inhale, come halfway up here. You can come onto the ball of your back foot, engage your core, and you can bring your hands to prayer, out to the side, out in front of you. We're going to make our way into warrior three. So start to maybe micro bend that standing leg a little bit as you make your way into the pose. Good. And then when you get where you're going, press into your foot, engage your core, and then straighten everything out. Good. It's almost like all these poses are like a blossoming of a flower, right? You're starting to in, and then we're opening up. One more breath. Right hand comes down. Open your hips and shoulders to the side, coming into half moon pose. Again, maybe micro bend that. I know I keep saying it, but you may find a deeper pose here. Bend a little bit into that right knee and then open it up as you lift a little and open a little bit more. Gaze is up at your fingertips. One more breath. As you exhale, square your hips, bring your left hand down under your left shoulder. Left toes are facing down, and then twist your half moon, right? So your right arm is lifting up. Keep pressing down to that foot, activating your right leg, and then twist your torso. One more breath. Right hand comes down. Take a moment here to lengthen your spine, and then exhale, walk it back into standing split. Let your head drop. Think about bringing your forehead towards your shin.
Bend a tiny bit into that standing leg and then press it open, lift a little bit higher. As you exhale, float your left leg to the back of the mat. Step back to plank, lower down chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Other side, left foot steps forward, warrior one. Exhale, open it up into warrior two. From here, press into the feet, lengthen everything up. Then start to take a tip it to the back. You can keep your right arm up or take it down your leg. Do what feels comfortable. You really want to keep your torso nice and engaged, right? No pressure in the lower back. One more breath here. And then come back through center. Start to reach your arms forward as your hip crease moves back. Taking it into triangle, adjusting your feet as you wish, short or long, just wherever you can feel your feet pressing evenly down, right? You want to feel nice and strong here. Take a moment when you get where you're going to gently bend that left knee, maybe even lift your left toes up off the mat. And with this, then straighten it back out. Maybe like another millimeter of depth, but you might feel something here. Good, tuck your tail under. One more breath here. Then staying low, start to take your right arm over your right ear, keeping it as a side bend, right? Opening your heart to the side of the room, gaze can move up toward your elbow. One more breath. Good, now start to take your torso down, folding over your left leg. Pop your right foot in a tiny bit for pyramid so you have a nice, strong, even stance. Take a moment here, feel your feet in the mat as you pull your heart forward. Maybe lift your toes again, and then exhale, fold it down into pyramid. Think about bringing that left hip back and then in toward the midline. Almost like you're squeezing the tops of your thighs together. One more breath here. Breathing in, breathing out, finding an opening in that hamstring. Then lift up halfway, take your hands to prayer or behind you, in front of you. Lift your right heel and then start to make your way with a gently bent knee. Start to get yourself set up for warrior three, right? So even your back knee can be a little bit bent. Using your torso here to lift your back leg, drop your heart. Good, and then when you get where you're going, then straighten everything out by engaging and pressing down. One more breath here, nice and strong. And then exhale, bring your left hand down as you peel your hips and shoulders open toward the side of the room, coming into half moon pose. Again, gently bend that standing leg, twist open a little bit more, and then straighten it back out. Inhaling here, exhale. As you inhale this time, bring your right hand down so that your shoulder's right on top of your wrist. Square your hips, squeeze into the midline, right toes are pointed down, and then open it up into this twisted half moon. This is like my arch nemesis of a pose. So I make myself do it as often as I can, right? These sort of little mental obstacles. One more breath. Left hand comes down, elongate your spine, gaze forward, find space, and then exhale, walk it back into standing leg split. Releasing your neck, no tension. Right, kind of gazing behind you. Take a little bend in that left knee, lift your right toes a little bit higher, and then straighten everything back out. One more breath. As you exhale, float your right leg to the back of the mat. Step back to plank, lowering down to chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. We're going to pause here for 5 breaths. You're always welcome to take child's pose. Good, that was a long, deep. We're getting really deep in the hips today, so you may need a good child's pose. Beautiful. Like our midweek pick-me-up. Beautiful. And then if you're not in child's pose, make sure you come down to child's pose now. Because speaking of hips, you know where we're going to go. So from child's pose, just prop yourself up on your arms here and then start to walk your knees out to the side. We're going to come into frog pose. So you're going to start to, I like to be somewhere where it's slippery. It just depends on your sort of knee sensitivity. But kind of walk your knees out and take a look on either side. Make sure your knees are coming right out of your hips and that your shins are perpendicular to that. So you're making all these right angles, including your feet are flexed here.
Good. Take a moment here. You may be on your hands, you may be on your forearms, you may be all the way down on your torso. Rock back and forth here for just a few moments, kind of just do what feels good, and then we'll go a little bit deeper if there is such a thing in this pose. Good. Rocking your hips back and forth. Good. Then what I want you to do is really press into your inner knee where you're contacting the floor. Press down into your inner knee. Feel a little lift in your navel here as you kind of try to tuck your tailbone under, right? So you're almost hollowing out the front body by your navel. And you're pretending to drag your knees in toward the midline. You should feel a lot of activation down that inseam of your yoga pants between your groin and your knee. If you don't, you're like you should be in the circus. Good. Tuck it in, pull it in toward the midline for just a moment. And then exhale, kind of release, let your knees slide out a little bit more. Maybe going a little bit deeper. We're gonna stay here for like another 30 seconds. It should seem like a lifetime. You'll thank me after. Good, and you can either stay here if you want to look at the screen. You can also do these little leg lifts, like lifting one leg at a time, kind of rolling onto that thigh as you lift the foot, taking it side to side, just finding some new rotation in your hips there, that inner rotation, which we don't often get. We do a lot of outer rotation. Taking it slow or not doing it at all. All is good. We have about 10 more seconds. You got this. Keep it engaged. Beautiful, guys. One more breath. And then ever so slowly and as gracefully as possible, which I have yet to figure out about getting out of this pose, come out of the pose, come back to child's pose. And this child's pose you might want to do with your legs together, your thighs together and folding over. Good, finding some length in the lower back. Beautiful. From your child's pose, just slither yourself forward onto your belly, coming into Sphinx pose here. So Sphinx pose, your forearms are parallel, your elbows are right under your shoulders. Really, wherever you're touching the mat, really press down, right? So you're gonna be sort of pulling everything into the midline, in towards your navel. So it's left to right, like north, south, east, west. You bring everything in. So press into your forearms, pull them back, press into your feet, and almost feel like you're pulling your feet forward as your chest moves forward. Press into your pubic bone, your hip bones. Lift your navel up off the mat. Shoulders away from your ears. This is such a hard pose. One more breath. And then exhale, release your chest down to the mat. I think I say this every time, but I'm always amazed after Sphinx pose at how hard it actually is when you really are engaged. Rock your hips side to side. Good. Then come up on your forearms. I want you to tuck your toes under and come into a forearm plank for a few breaths, really nice and strong. Feel your forearms pressing into the mat. Keep pressing those heels back toward the back of the room, lifting up away from the mat. So lifting your front body up and away. Tuck your tailbone under here. Feel nice and strong. Squeeze that imaginary block between your thighs. Hold it here. Good, and then start to walk yourself into a dolphin pose. So it's like a downward facing dog on your forearms. This is a great shoulder opener. Holding it here. Good, keep pressing down. Feel your armpits lift up away from the mat. And either stay here, maybe walking your feet in a little bit at a time or bending into those knees like we did in traditional downward facing dog and straightening back out. You can do some leg lifts here. Or if you're working on Pincha Mayurasana, your forearms, you can start to jump up into that. I shouldn't say jump, make your way there, right? In control. We're gonna be here for about 10 breaths. Wherever you are, just keep it going, stay engaged. Breathing in, keep sending that chest back towards your thighs, pressing down through your forearms, lifting those shoulders up and away from the mat. A few more breaths, maybe 4 more breaths. And when you're ready, come down onto your knees, take it into child's pose. And then come up to sit on your heels. Lift up onto your knees here. So now we're standing on our knees. Just take a quick back bend into camel pose here. So setting it up. Your tailbone is tucked. Good. And again, you can kind of like send your tail back and then pull it forward to open up the front of your hips and strengthen the back of your body. Keep pressing down. You can use your hands to physically kind of press your seat down Opening up your shoulders, lifting your heart toward the sky. So this is a heart opener more than a back bend, if you think about it that way. It's not really about how much you go back this way, it's about how much you're pressing down to lift up and open this front body here. So you're pressing down through your knees, pressing down your hips with your hands, opening your heart and either staying here, which is really challenging, or you can start to walk your hands back towards your heels. Your feet can be tucked. If your toes can be tucked if you have a little bit, you need a little bit more assistance here. Good, wherever you are, you can continue to press your hips forward and lift your heart up. Maybe drop your head, hold it here. And then exhale, take it down into child's pose. Pausing. Beautiful. And come back up to seated. Oh, I've always run out of time here. I could go on forever. Let's open up into our straddle. Good, setting it up, bringing your hands behind you. And then start to press your heart open. Your hips might open a little bit more here. Gaze is up. And also you might be a little bit like tipped forward on your sit bones, which is okay here. Keep your legs engaged and then bring your hands in front of you. Start to walk it forward. Keep a nice long spine here. So you may just be here, where if that's, which is amazing. You can take it to your forearms. You can bring your torso all the way down. Wherever you are, keep those legs engaged, right? Good. And just like we did in frog pose, I want you to press your heels into the mat. I mean, like tiny, tiny bend in your knees as you feel yourself try to pull your heels into the midline here. Good, really activate that inner thigh. And then as you exhale, release it back down. Maybe point your toes for a few breaths and then flex them. Just notice the difference, right? Inhaling here and exhaling. Walk your torso back up. Bring your hands behind your legs and then bring your legs out in front of you here. We're not going to forward bend quite yet, but I want you to walk your fingertips up towards your heels and almost round your spine. So you're pulling your navel back, lifting your torso away. And with this, all this space between your torso and your legs, start to drag your fingertips back as you tuck your tail down towards your heels, bringing yourself all the way down onto your back. Good, and from here, we're gonna take a figure 4 pose. We're gonna skip bridge today, which you can always do at the end, because we just did the camel pose. But I want you to bring your right ankle on top, just above your left knee here, into a figure 4 pose. You can bend your left knee and bring your leg in. Just kind of do what feels good and support yourself. You can use your right hand to press the inside of your right knee to press it away as you pull your left leg in a little bit more. You'll find that sweet spot. You should be feeling it right in your right tush there. Good, just opening up. You can straighten the leg, and there's a million variations. You can straighten your left leg and hold it. Just do what feels really good right now and juicy. Use your breath to heal, right? To open and heal. We did a lot of hip openers today. Good, then just stretch your legs up toward the sky and we'll switch sides. Left ankle onto your right leg, just above your knee. And this one might feel different, right? Try a few different things as you move into the pose. Every breath taking you deeper, or every breath you just learn a little bit more about yourself and your body today, where you are right now. Keep that left foot flexed, always protecting the knee. Beautiful. One more breath. Then bring your left leg up toward the sky. Bring your, you can stay here in waterfall. We're just going to take a quick inversion. It's always nice to finish up with our legs up in the air, right above our hearts. So staying here in waterfall with your legs up, or pop your hips up into the air, and you can shimmy your shoulders in. Your hands are on your lower back. Spread nice and wide. Keep tucking your tail up toward the sky. Always remembering in these inversions to keep your legs engaged. It's kind of hard when they're just kind of floating around up there to remember, right? Because they do it on their own. But keep your legs engaged. Keep imagining that block in between your thighs and keep taking that tail up toward your heels here. One more breath wherever you are. And then if you're in shoulder stand, start to let your feet fall behind you, coming into cloud pose. If your toes touch, release your hand. You can interlace them behind you and pull them down the mat.
Even in plow pose, maybe take a little bend in your knees. Feel that nice opening of the lower back as you soften your knees. And either stay in plow or bend your knees to either side of your head, coming to Karnapadasana, Death Man's Pose. Breathing here. In and out. If your knees are bent, straighten your legs. Send your arms down the mat and very slowly, keeping those legs engaged for just a few more moments. Start to take yourself all the way back down onto your back. Take it nice and slow. Pretend you're drawing this big rainbow with your big toes. So you're pointing your toes here. Elongating the front body, the front of your hips here. Sending your feet down toward the ceiling and then the wall in front of you and finally down to the floor. Nice and slow. Shimmy your elbows down towards your hips here. Press into those forearms. Open your heart first. Roll your shoulders back and let your head fall into that space. The crown of your head falling toward the mat. And 3 times, just breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth in this fish pose, letting it all go. Releasing it all in. And then let it go. 2 more times. Breathe it in. Let it go. Last time, breathe it in. And as you exhale, start to tuck your chin in towards your chest, making your way back down onto your back. Either setting up for Shavasana here if you're ready, or doing any last poses, headstand, supine twist, something that feels good for you to kind of, end on a good note, right? You want to finish up feeling amazing. And then making your way to Shavasana and really letting go, letting your feet flap out, moving your arms away from your body. But before you actually really settle in, just make sure your shoulders aren't scrunched up by your ears in Shavasana, right? We're really going to be nice and like a long neck. And just let the earth hold you. Taking your time to just absorb all of this energy, right? All of this goodness. Slowly start to bring awareness back to your breath in your body. Introducing small movements, wiggling your fingers and toes, rocking your neck gently side to side as you start to deepen the inhales and exhales. Reaching your arms up overhead, taking a nice full body stretch and then hugging your knees in towards your chest as you exhale. With your eyes gently closed, making your way back up to seated. Staying tuned inward. Feeling that foundation where we began class, your sit bones are rooted, gentle engagement of your core, nice tall spine. And then always checking in at the end, shrugging those shoulders up by your ears, rolling them back, just like we did at the very beginning, but everything has changed so much. Right? We found all of these new areas, like new nooks and crannies, new sources of inspiration, of love, of awareness, and created all of this amazing energy that we can now go out and share. We're so lucky to have this time together on our mats. We'll close class together with Lokha Samasta, keeping this nice tall spine, breathing in all together. Lokha Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Lokha Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Lokha Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Bring your hands together in prayer at heart center. Gently bow your chin in towards your chest. Taking these last moments together to thank yourself, honor yourself, and celebrate yourself, knowing that everything you need and the true teacher lies right within each one of you. Bring your prayer to your third eye, sealing this all in, sealing in this energy. We bow forward together. Namaste.